Hello, welcome to Unit 4. In this unit, we are going to focus on some of the speaking skills that are important for job seekers to develop. Networking is a big part of the job search process. We're going to talk about what networking is and why it is important in your career development. In later videos, we will focus on what to say and how to say it. Let's begin with some definitions. First, a network is a connection between many things or people. In career development, networking means connecting with other people to talk about your job search and career goals. You can talk to other people formally at a professional conference or informally at lunch with friends. When you are networking, you are meeting new people and learning more about different jobs and companies. Networking is about building professional relationships which take time to grow. When you meet new people, you learn about common interests or things you both know about. For example, two co-workers meet while working for a large financial company in New York. They quickly learn that they both went to the same university. This common background is the beginning of their professional relationship and may help them learn about some other things that they have in common, such as major or subject areas, work experiences, or other people they both know. These are called mutual friends or acquaintances. When you meet new people and discover common interests, they become a part of your professional network. There are many ways to increase or add to your professional network. First, you can join a professional organization, which is a group of people with similar occupations or careers. Second, you can use social media websites like LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. Third, you can contact college alumni groups. Alumni groups are a connection of current and past students from the same university. Once you have a group of people, your network can be very important for your career because they might know about job openings that are not advertised. When some companies add jobs, they may not need to advertise online or in newspapers because they use their current employees to fill new positions. Let's look at an example of how networking really works. Jack is a manager at a large tech company, and he is looking for an additional web designer to add to the team. After he told his team, Marta remembered that her friend, Jin Soo, is a web designer and looking for a new job. Marta calls Jin Soo and recommends that he contact her manager, Jack, about the job. As a result of this network, Jin Soo learns about an unadvertised job, sends his resume and cover letter, and interviews for the job. After the interview, Jin Soo thanks Marta with a phone call or by sending her an email or a letter. In summary, we have learned that networking is connecting with other people to talk about job openings and career goals. We also learned how to increase your network by joining organizations and using social media websites. Remember that networking is about building professional relationships and can help you to learn about jobs that are not advertised online or in newspapers. Now, go on to read Text 1, which has more information about networking during the job search.
Hello! In this video, we're going to discuss making small talk. We'll define what small talk is, give some examples of it, and explain how making small talk is relevant to networking and ultimately finding a job. So, to begin, let's define what small talk is. Small talk is when you make polite conversation with someone. Often the conversation is with someone you don't know very well. So you may have to speak with this person for the very first time. A conversation may begin as small talk and then continue into speaking about something more important. But usually, small talk is the first stage before you can get to that more important place. For example, let's say you are in a business meeting with your coworkers. You might begin the conversation with one of your colleagues by asking her about her family. You might say, "Hey Maria, how are you? How's your family doing? Did your youngest start school yet?" In this situation, the speaker asks a question about his coworker's family. Questions are a good way to get a conversation started. Usually, small talk sticks to topics that we consider safe. In the United States, chatting about someone's family is generally a safe topic. Chatting about the weather is a safe topic. Chatting about food or travel or movies are safe topics. Safe topics are ones where you can be pretty sure that you will not upset or offend the person by talking about these topics. In the U.S., we usually stay clear of certain topics that we consider taboo or controversial, topics that could upset someone. Some examples of taboos in the U.S. are religion, politics, and salary. It's best to avoid discussing these topics in a conversation, especially with someone you're trying to make a good impression with. So you would never say to a colleague in a conversation, "How much money do you make in your job?" Perhaps to help you make small talk, you should have a number of questions already prepared. That way, you're not tongue-tied or unable to speak when you meet someone. This brings up an important point regarding small talk or conversation in general. A lot of people are introverted or shy by nature. They feel uncomfortable talking about themselves, especially to strangers. This is a perfectly normal thing. However, if you have such a personality, you don't want this to stop you from having a conversation with someone who might possibly open a door to a future job. You will need to try and find a way to overcome this personality obstacle. In social situations, like meeting someone for the first time and feeling pressure to speak, asking questions is a good way to take the focus off you. If you have a number of questions already prepared, this will also help take some of the stress away in these uncomfortable situations. Beforehand, write down a number of the questions that you can use in these situations. Choose topics from the safe list we talked about earlier. Here are a couple examples. 1. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun or interesting? 2. The weather forecast looks very nice for this coming weekend. Do you have any plans? Or 3. What restaurants would you recommend for lunch? These are just a few examples. Try these out a few times on a friend or a family member to see if they work and whether you need more practice. Select the ones you think work well and throw out the ones that don't. In this video, we've looked at the topic of small talk. We've examined some examples of it and discussed how it is relevant to networking. Next, we'll play a game with appropriate phrases from a conversation.
Hello. In this video, we will discuss what to say when you are networking. Job seekers often meet many people while they are searching for a job. We will discuss how to prepare and practice a networking elevator speech, which is a short description of skills and career goals. For many of us, it is easier to meet and talk to new people if we have prepared and practiced something to say about ourselves. Let's imagine that you just got on an elevator with a high-level manager in your company. After you greet each other, you want to tell the manager a little bit more about yourself. What would you say? Most people would say nothing and miss the chance to make a good impression on the manager. However, successful job seekers should have a prepared statement they can use to introduce themselves to another person quickly. This short description is known as an elevator speech. Because the average amount of time in an elevator is about 45 seconds. Even though the elevator speech is short, it should give enough information to make the listener know who you are and what you can do. Let's start with the basic information that you should include in your elevator speech. First, tell them your full name and current job title, department, or employer. Second, tell the other person what you are looking for, information or a kind of job in an industry, field, or location. Third, tell them something about a past job or experience that could be important to them. Fourth, tell them about a job skill that you have and are very good at. After you have described a little bit about yourself, then you can ask the other person a general question. A general question is one that is easy to answer. For example, do you know if the company is hiring anyone right now? Asking questions helps to keep the conversation going and allows you to find out more about them. Let's see how an example job seeker, Amanda Smith, would introduce herself when networking. In this situation, Amanda is at a professional conference with many people in the auto industry, and she is talking with some people from Toyota. Here's an example of what she could say to introduce herself. First, she greets them with her name and gives her current job. Hello, I'm Amanda Smith, and I have been in sales for about 5 years. Second, she explains what she's looking for. I'm currently looking for a sales position in the auto industry. Third, she tells them about a current or past experience. One of the things I like most about sales is meeting and talking with new customers all the time. Fourth, she describes a job skill. I'm really good at listening to customers, and I am able to understand what they really want. Lastly, she asks a general question. Do you know if Toyota is hiring any new salespeople in this area? So, by asking a question at the end, Amanda keeps the conversation going and gives the listeners a chance to introduce themselves as well. The question at the end is optional or your choice. In summary, job seekers should have a short prepared description or an elevator speech that they can use to introduce themselves when networking. A good elevator speech includes your name and current job, what you are looking for, something from a past experience, and a short description of your best job skill. Even though it is short, it can give other people a lot of information about you. In the next video, we will talk about how to deliver your elevator speech with confidence.
Hello! In this video, we're going to talk about the pronunciation and delivery of a networking elevator speech. When we are networking, we not only need to think about what we are saying, but also how we are saying it. We should be aware of our word choices and how we say them. Speakers who use effective stress, pausing, and intonation are often easier to understand and show confidence. We will start by defining stress, pausing, and intonation, and then we will look at an example of how the delivery can show confidence. So, what are stress, pausing, and intonation? When we talk about stress, we mean words that are longer and louder. Stressed words are usually important keywords that you want the listener to hear clearly. Let's look at an example sentence from Amanda's elevator speech. Which words are longer and louder? I've been in sales for about 5 years. In this sentence, the word sales and 5 years are stressed. These are the words that the listener needs to hear clearly. Pauses are also important when speaking. Pauses are the short silence between words. In English, there's usually a pause after stressed words. Some speakers have longer or shorter pauses, but there is a pause. Let's look at the same sentence and notice the words that are said together and where to pause. I've been in sales for about 5 years. Amanda pauses after the word sales and 5 years. You should also notice that the pause follows the words with the most stress. Intonation is the rising or falling of a sound. Intonation is used to show that you're asking a question or ending a statement. Rising intonation usually signals that the speaker isn't finished speaking or signals a yes or no question. Falling intonation is used to signal the end of a statement or a WH question that begins with who, what, when, where, or how. Let's look at Amanda's intonation. Notice how her intonation falls at the end of the statement. I'm really good at listening to customers. Now notice that her intonation rises at the end of this yes or no question. Do you know if Toyota is hiring any new salespeople in this area? Intonation is important because it shows your level of confidence. If Amanda has too much rising intonation, she would sound like she's asking too many questions or that she's not sure of herself. On the other hand, too much falling intonation can make her sound like she's impatient or unfriendly. In a networking elevator speech, you want to show confidence but not sound impatient or unfriendly. If Amanda doesn't sound confident, the other people will not be confident in her skills or abilities. Likewise, if she sounds impatient, the other people may think she's not easy to work with. Now, I'm going to say the networking elevator speech and model the stress, pausing, and intonation that shows confidence. Pay attention to the words that are louder. Also notice how I pause and the intonation that I use. Hello, I'm Amanda Smith, and I've been in sales for about 5 years. I'm currently looking for a sales position in the auto industry. One of the things I like most about sales is meeting and talking with new customers all the time. I'm really good at listening to customers, and I'm able to understand what they really want. Do you know if Toyota is hiring any new salespeople in this area? Let's review what we've learned about the pronunciation in networking elevator speeches. Job seekers who use stress, pausing and intonation effectively appear more confident and are more likely to be successful in their networking. Now, go on to a game to hear different elevator speeches. Use what you know about stress, pausing, and intonation to choose the best networking elevator speeches.